The fly you see in the vise is a selfish tie today because I am going to be fishing Farmoor this weekend. So I thought I might as well combine a tutorial with practicality. So without further ado, let's get into it. In the vise is a Hanak H260 barbless hook. This one's at size 8 and it's on a heavy wire. Now, the thread I'm going to be using today is from Troutline. You can't see the label, but it is the Sumo thread. It's a nano silk. So first of all, we're going to get some super glue onto the shank of the hook. Now, this week, it's a bit of a selfish tie. When you're watching this, I'll have already been to Farmoor Reservoir, and this is a fly that I definitely want to try out before the spring match, which will be around the 1st of April time. And I just want to give this a go before tying up a whole bunch of them. I think it's going to be effective. I've tied similar sort of things in the past that have worked really well. But the video I did, or I filmed yesterday, should I say, was to do with fishing a single booby. So that hopefully will be out on Thursday for you to watch. Now, I'm going to be tying in a marabou tail, and I'm using Dave Downey's marabou. It's the best stuff around, and I've taken off about between a thumbnail size, maybe slightly bigger. I'm going to come back a bit for the eye because this is of course a booby pattern and I need to leave plenty of room. Now obviously the tail's far too long there. I'm gonna, he says, I'm gonna just pinch away. It's pretty strong marabou, this, a certain amount. Now this one, the one I'm going to be fishing at Farmoor, is going to be slightly longer than competition legal because I can. If I do end up tying up a batch of these, I will no doubt tie them in smaller sizes, but for Farmoor I'm going to tie up this bigger sort of size. Now I've just caught in some Vivus pearl, 20 meters it comes in, what, medium, it's medium, but it's a pearl material. Now the next thing I'm going to catch in here is just simply plumber's tape, and what this does is it's going to give me a plain white body, and what that does, it allows the pearl to really pop on the fly. If you follow a lot of my stuff, I did do a short video on how having white in behind ribs like pearl or mirage, for example, really does make the fly pop. Now there's a couple of ways of doing this. You can achieve it in other ways. You can use white thread and then swap out, or you can use floss. There's white floss available that'll do a similar job, but this is just as easy, you know, rather than the faff of swapping out your black thread for white. You can come in with your plumber's tape. It does take a little bit of time to get used to tying with it, because it can be, if any of you have used plumber's tape for obviously plumbing jobs, you'll know that it can be a bit of a pain in the arse to work with. Now before I bring the pearl rib over, I'm just going to get a little bit of super glue onto my plumber's tape. I'll get several extra turns in at the front, and then what I'm going to do is use the rotary function on the vise to just bring this over. Now hopefully the camera will show how it pops. It really does pop, this pearl rib. I should have maybe gone with a large because the medium's taking a wee bit of time to just get together, and you might be able to see, I'm not sure how well the camera will pick it up, but the little bit of super glue I put on has been pushed round that pearl rib that I'm putting on here, and I'm already very pleased with the way this fly's starting to shape up. and I think it's going to do a job for me on Farmoor. So we'll just get a couple of turns in to secure that into place. Now before I attempt to come in with my wing, I'm just going to check that none of the super glue's seeped through to the outside of the body. I don't want my wing stuck to my body, and I'm just going to damp down my thumb and forefinger and smooth out that marabou. Now the next thing then is we're going to tie in our wing, and I'm just using the same black marabou. Now you can, if you like, you know, if I was of a mind to, I could have added runners to the side, but I've decided to go with a more subtle approach and just fish it black with the pearl body, just to see if I can simplify my life, because the more ingredients you put into a fly, especially if it starts to work for you and then you feel like you must do it with every fly, the longer it takes to fill your boxes. So if you can keep it simple, you can get a box of effective fish catching flies in much quicker time. Just keep it simple, and that's what my mantra is when it comes to tying flies for fishing. Don't overcomplicate it. Now the next thing then is to add our booby eyes to the fly, and I am using a pre-prepared booby eye here. If you want to know how I've got to this stage, I'll link the video to that in the top right hand corner of your screens. Now basically I'm going to get some thread off my bobbin. I'll bring the booby eye into the centre and loop it over. Just check I've got it where I want it. Then I'll get another couple of loops. Now I'm not putting a whole lot of pressure on the thread at this point, because I don't want to cut right through my booby eye. Now it's not falling particularly well, so I'm just going to have to encourage it to get on top of the shank. I'll get 3 or 4 turns to hold it into place there, and then I'll come round the other way. Apologies for my finger being in the way. It can't be helped. It's quite a difficult thing to get the booby eyes on without using your fingers to hold everything out of the way and in place. So I'm going to pull the booby eyes back, come with my whip finish tool and secure at the eye of the hook. I'm not going to attempt to snap that away. I'll just remove it like so. Now I'm just damping down my fingers so that I can get the marabou well out the way. Now I am fairly pleased with how that's looking. But before we call it a done fly, what I'm going to do is get some super glue in between the eyes. This just will sink down onto the fly, onto the thread wraps, and secure it into place. And I also like to get just a little bit of super glue on the thread wraps below the booby eyes, and this keeps the whole thing nice and secure. Now once that's dried out, it will fish a treat. And so how would I fish it for that matter? Well, if you watch Thursday's video, you will find out. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.